Let me ask you something nobody ever asks out loud. When was the last time someone looked at you? Not your highlight reel, not your achievements, not your body, not your mood, but you. And you felt like they actually got it. Not a compliment, not a "you are so strong," not a like on your post. Just someone who saw what was really going on inside you and didn't flinch. If you are struggling to remember, this video is for you, because what I am about to tell you is something psychology has known for decades, but nobody talks about in plain language. Every single human being alive has one hunger that sits deeper than love, deeper than money, deeper than success. The hunger to be truly seen. Let's be honest about something first. We've confused being seen with being noticed. They are not the same thing. Being noticed is your post getting 10,000 views. Being seen is one person reading your caption and texting you privately saying, "Are you okay?" Being noticed is someone calling you talented. Being seen is someone recognizing that the talent costs you something. Being noticed is surface. Being seen is depth. Psychologist Carl Rogers, one of the fathers of modern psychology, said that the deepest need of the human being is to be understood. Not fixed, not praised, understood. And here is the thing. Rogers spent decades working with people, listening to them, and he found one consistent pattern. The moment a person truly felt heard, not advised, not evaluated, just heard, something in them relaxed. Something they had been holding for years finally let go. That's not therapy magic, that's biology. When someone truly sees you, your nervous system registers it as safety, as belonging, as "I exist and it matters." And when you go years without that, the absence creates a wound most people can't even name. So if being seen is what we really want, why do we spend so much time chasing likes, followers, validation, and applause? Simple, because likes are easier to get, and the brain doesn't always distinguish between what feels good and what actually heals. Social media gave us a shortcut. Post something, get a reaction, dopamine hits. For a second, it feels like connection, like someone saw you, but it fades fast. And you know it fades, because you've posted something that got hundreds of likes and still gone to bed feeling completely empty. That emptiness has a name in psychology. It's called social snacking. Psychologist John Cacioppo coined this term. He described it as the social equivalent of eating junk food when you are hungry for a real meal. It takes the edge off the craving, but it never actually feeds you. And the cruel part? The more you rely on social validation, the worse the hunger gets, because you train your brain to expect fast, shallow hits, and real connection, the slow kind, the kind that actually fills you up, starts to feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. So people end up in a loop, craving depth, settling for surface, wondering why they feel so alone despite being constantly connected. Now, let's talk about what happens when this need goes unmet for a long time. Because it doesn't just make you sad, it reshapes how you move through the world. People who grow up without being truly seen, by parents, by friends, by partners, tend to develop what psychologists call a false self. A version of themselves that is built entirely around what other people seem to respond to. They become performers, not because they're fake, but because they learned very early that the real version of them either wasn't safe or wasn't enough. So they shrink the parts that didn't get a good reaction. They amplify the parts that did, and slowly, over years, they build a personality that is almost entirely shaped by other people's approval. The tragedy, they become very likable, very successful sometimes, very good at making people comfortable, and completely invisible, even to themselves. I want you to really sit with that, because this is what happens when the need to be seen goes unmet long enough. You stop seeing yourself. You forget what you actually think, what you actually feel, what you actually want, because you've been so busy managing what other people think of you. Psychologist Donald Winnicott called this the false self disorder. And he said the cure was not success, not compliments, not achievement. It was one genuine relationship where the real self could finally show up and not be punished for it. Let me describe what being truly seen feels like, because some of you might not have a reference point. It's not always comfortable. That's the first thing to know. Being seen can feel exposing, vulnerable, like someone turned the lights on in a room you'd kept dark for a long time. But underneath that discomfort is something that feels like relief, like you've been holding your breath for years, and you finally got to exhale. It's the friend who notices you've gone quiet in the group chat and reaches out privately, not with, "Are you okay?" but with, "I noticed something's different with you lately. I am here." It's the partner who doesn't try to fix your sadness, who just sits in the room with you, without checking their phone. It's the moment someone reflects back to you something you've never said out loud, and it's accurate, and your whole body goes still. Psychologists call this attunement. It's when one nervous system resonates with another. When someone is so genuinely present with you that they pick up on things you didn't even broadcast. And the research on this is remarkable. Studies on parent-infant bonding, on therapy outcomes, on relationship satisfaction, they all point to the same thing. Attunement is the core ingredient. Not intelligence, not money, not looks. The ability to make someone feel truly met, where they are, as they are. So what do you actually do with this? First, and this is the hard part, you have to let yourself be seen. That means allowing people to know the unpolished version of you, the uncertain version, the version that is still figuring things out. Most people never get truly seen because they never drop the performance long enough for anyone to see anything real. They share the highlight, they hide the struggle, they post the win and delete the doubt. And then they wonder why their relationships feel shallow. Here is the psychology. Vulnerability is the price of admission for real connection. There is no shortcut. You cannot be truly seen while hiding. Now, I am not saying overshare with everyone. That's not what this is. This is about finding one safe person. One relationship where you practice saying what's actually true, where you show up without the armor. Second, learn to see others. Because this cuts both ways. The more you practice genuinely seeing the people around you, asking real questions, listening past the surface answer, noticing what they don't say, the more you create space for that to come back to you. Most people are waiting to be asked the real question. They'll answer, "I am fine," 20 times in a row, but if you look them in the eyes and say, "No, really, how are you doing?" something shifts. Be that person for someone, and watch how it changes the quality of your relationships across the board. 0. Here is what I want to leave you with. You don't need more followers. You don't need more compliments. You don't need to be more impressive, more successful, more anything. What you need, what every single person in your life needs, is to be seen. To have someone look at the real version of them and not run. That is the most human thing there is. And the beautiful, strange truth about this need, the moment you start offering it to others, genuine presence, genuine attention, genuine care, you start receiving it back in ways you never expected. Because people are starving for exactly what you are starving for. Feed them, and you'll stop being hungry.